Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for agreeing to have a chat today. You have been through an incredible journey so far since you've been diagnosed, and you've just got such amazing knowledge. It's really generous of you to share with other people. So I wondered if you could just start by telling us about your story and what's happened to you so far. All the things that you've been through, or maybe not all of them, because you've had a lot, but the things that you're happy to talk about that you've been through.
Of course. So I was diagnosed with GBM in, I think it was 2000. Yeah, it's about 2000, wasn't it? I think during COVID. It all started with headaches. I wouldn't say migraines. It was just an irritating headache that wouldn't go away. The reason I flagged it was that one of the headaches woke me from my sleep. So I called the GP, who immediately told me to get straight to A&E. So I went to A&E, but unfortunately, it was urgent care. It was COVID. And because of my age, I was told there was unlikely it was anything serious. It was probably just headaches, and I was sent off with anti-sickness tablets. The headaches didn't go away. I think they carried on for about 8 days. I've got two very small children. At that time, my youngest was coming up for a year old, and my eldest was around 3. So I was busy looking after children through COVID and juggling everything like everybody else. We carried on life as normal. We went out for walks, and it was at the point where we were doing a country walk. I think we did a 5K walk, and I had the headache still, and I was throwing up as I was going on this walk. Me being me, I carried on the walk, and I completed the 5K, and I went home and I called the GP back again and said, look, the headaches haven't improved. Urgent care won't see me. A&E won't go near me. Can you please write me a referral letter to get in to the hospital? So I was whizzed up to A&E again. And as it was COVID, my mum was asked to wait outside the hospital. I was on my own. And then I don't remember anything else. I collapsed in A&E, and I woke up in a gown in a bed. I had an MRI at that point. I was unconscious, and turned out there was a growth found on my brain. It wasn't a great experience. I was on the stroke ward. I had no idea what was going on. I wasn't allowed visitors. I was just advised by a consultant that I had a tumour on the brain. Had nobody with me at that point. And I then had to call my family and my husband to let them know that's what had happened. I don't really remember much about that time. There was a lot of fighting going on for a bed so that I could get moved to King's. And that's when my journey started, really. It turned out that I had actually for 8 days been having, I believe, a bleed on the brain from the pressure of the tumour. And I think the news was that it was likely inoperable. It all happened very quickly. I had a biopsy. Unfortunately, that failed. And within a matter of days, I was in for a craniotomy to see if any of the tumour could be taken for a biopsy to analyse and find out what it was I had. But whilst this was happening, they did the craniotomy, and my surgeon and the team took the opportunity to take the tumour out, and they got the majority of it out, I believe. I think I'm remembering it correctly. And then I was, unfortunately, after that first operation, I was left paralysed. I lost the use of my left side, my leg and arm, which came as quite a shock, having walked into hospital and not been able to walk out. I was then transferred to rehab centre for 2 weeks, where I learnt to walk again, and I had some physiotherapy. And unfortunately, it was there that we received the diagnosis of GBM, which hit us like a ton of bricks. Obviously, we were told that it is incurable. As you can imagine, with 2 small children, it's not the news you want to hear. But treatable and treatable, and what's the other word that comes with that? Controllable. There
Controllable,
you go. Yeah. So after getting out of physio, I got up as quickly as I could, basically. I gave myself the target of getting to the toilet on my own. There's nothing worse than being wheeled to the toilet. There's no dignity in that at all. But for my girls, I did it, and I got up and I got in that loo, and I got home as quickly as possible. I think it was 10 days, actually. I had to learn to walk again. That was the hardest thing. When you've got a toddler who's learning to walk and you're basically doing the same again. And from there, that's when we got our treatment plan. So I did the 6 weeks of radiotherapy with chemotherapy at the same time, whilst juggling the kids. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. Couldn't have done it without the support of my family. They all took the radiotherapy plan and divided the days between them all who could take me to hospital. So between them all, we got it sorted. Neighbours rallied round. We had meals at the doorsteps. People took the kids, you name it, everyone rallied around. And we got through it. We did get through it. It was brutal, but we got through it. Taking chemotherapy tablets in the car or the cab on the way to hospital. Getting nuked for 5 minutes, coming home, and then having a little nap. So that I could deal with the kids who didn't understand at that point what was going on. And for me, the best thing to do was to shield them from that. They didn't need to know. And my husband was by my side for every appointment, every clinic appointment, every radiotherapy appointment. He was there. We did it together. We've got our little team. And yeah, we did it. And it all went well. It did the job it needed to do. I'm still, what we are, 3 and a bit years in now. I've had 4 operations, 1, 2, 3 craniotomies now. Is that? I think that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And looking back, you don't realise what you've been through. You just get on with it. You haven't got time to sit. You haven't got time to wallow. You pick yourself up and you get on with it. Stay as positive as you can. Talk about it. That's, for me, the best thing. A therapist is worth its weight in gold. Talking about it, processing it, and living life, not giving up, living your life, and finding those glimmers in day-to-day life is the main thing. If you don't do that, then yeah, you have to be positive. You have to look out for those glimmers, plan things that you want to do with your family, with your friends. We joke, I'm now a lady of leisure. I go for coffee with my friends. I talk to everybody about what's going on. I don't hide away from it. And I say to my friends, if you have questions, just ask me. I don't want it to be the elephant in the room. Just ask. I won't get upset. Well, I might do, but they all cry with me, so it's fine.
And they probably appreciate the opportunity to cry with you. You know, they
Oh, yeah.
probably appreciate the opportunity, because life is very different now, isn't it? I mean, you were very young when you were diagnosed, and
Yes.
you had a full-on job as well as your two babies.
Yeah, I loved my job. I had a fantastic job. I literally just landed the job I've been working towards. I worked in events. I was just about to, yeah, to progress up the ladder, as it were. And it was all taken away in the blink of an eye. My independence, I lost that. My driving license, I was no longer allowed to take allowed. I wasn't allowed. I was taken straight away. Not allowed to drive my children anywhere. I had to rely on everybody else for everything. It didn't stop me. Didn't stop me at all. I can still, I was until recently out on my own. I up to London on my own. Nobody escorting me. Unfortunately, my most recent surgery 4 weeks ago has left me with some vision impairment on my left side. So I've lost my peripheral vision. So I'm a little bit of a walking liability at the moment. My children are older, so they now understand a bit more about what's going on. They help me, which is never something I thought I would have to. I don't have to expect it, but they want to help me. So they will walk with me on my good side and help me around. My husband has to now get used to me not being able to see from the left. Everyone disappears around corners and I don't know where they've gone. Kids think it's hilarious. But again, it's just getting used to a change, and it's the new normal. It might get a little better, but at the end of the day, I'm still here. And thanks to my amazing team, Jose has saved me how many times now I've lost count. And he said to me before the operation 4 weeks ago, you might well lose all vision on your left side. And it might be all your movement on the left side again as well. And I was glad of his honesty. It was a bit of a shock, but at the end of the day, I said to him, I said, Jose, look, what's a bit of eyesight, a bit of vision, a bit of movement versus life? And I said, look, you do what you need to do. I've done this before. I can do it again. And that's what it is. You know, it's better to get it out, start again, than have it in there growing. So the girls kept me going. I knew I had to get home to them. So I had the you get it done, get it out. And yeah, ready for the next step, whatever that may be. And keep positive, keep spreading awareness. That is my thing at the moment, making people aware of it could be anyone, it could happen to anybody. Nobody knows. And we live our lives one day at a time. There's no planning for big events, no 5-year plan, none of that. Just one day at a time. And to be honest, we're getting more done with our lives now than we were pre-diagnosis. We haven't got time to worry, time to waste, and enjoy your life. That's what we're doing, enjoying it. You get one shot. We've had a heads up. Things aren't going to go as we thought they would go, but we will make the most of the time. And who knows, you know, I didn't think I'd be here 3 years down the line. So keep going. And that would be my advice to anybody diagnosed, absolutely anyone, but any kind of horrible cancer, disease, anything, just one day at a time. Don't make the big plans, just enjoy the small glimmers and have fun. God, you know, we haven't got time to waste. Nobody has. So that's what we do as a family. My entire family, it affects everybody, it affects my friends. They've been with me from the get-go, everything. And they're all there for us as a team. And also the medical team have been brilliant. They've supported us through it all. And we know that they're there should we need them. And yeah, it's hard. It is hard, but I've learned to ask for help. It's one thing I was never any good at, asking for help and saying no when things are too much. If I feel now that I can't cope with going out or a social situation, I will say, I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't do it. If it's going to stress me out or put more pressure on me, then it's not worth it in the long run. I need to have rest. I'll have a rest. If I need to have a sleep, I will. Everyone understands. And well, if they don't, then I will explain why. I like to have a granny nap now in the afternoon. It's the one thing that gets me through. It'll make me get to bedtime at least.
And you mentioned the girls and how they were very little when you were first found out, and how you really have created so many amazing memories for them, experiences in these last 3 years, because you are embracing every day.
Yeah.
How have you managed talking to them, and how have you found managing being a mum as well as trying to look after yourself in all of this?
It's hard work, incredibly hard work. I find that as long as I have enough sleep, I can deal with the kids. It's not a problem. I had to be open and honest with them for this operation because they're a lot older. They understand. And if mummy's not around, they want to know why. So I had some advice from a friend whose daughter had noticed that I'm missing a lot of hair through radiation. And she asked why. And her mum explained to her that I had something in my head that needed to be removed. And she was worried that she'd done the wrong thing in telling her daughter because they're at school together, my children. And I said, no, actually, that's given me the idea to tell my children and explain to them in that way. And it was much easier for them to digest. They didn't really ask any questions, actually. I just said, look, mummy's got something in her head that shouldn't be there. And the doctors have said, I need to have it taken out. And initially, they were incredibly upset that I was going to go into hospital, mainly because it was a birthday coming up and they wanted mummy there. Not worried for mummy's well-being or anything, just the presence. But I said to them, that's what was happening. And they said, well, why do you have to go? I said, well, I've been told by the doctor that I have to go. It's a bit like when you get told to do things that you don't want to do, but you have to do them. And they understood. They understood then that it was important for mummy to go. I mean, we don't talk about death or anything like that. That will come in time. We'll have to have that discussion at some point. I don't doubt it. But for now, it's just that the doctors are telling mummy what to do. And it will come. It worked. They understood. They didn't want me to go. There were a lot of tears, understandably. But the way I coped with that was they're big fans of Bluey, and we love to watch it all together. And I found a box of books where each character, so mum and dad and the children, they all had a book. And I wrote a message in the books and gave them to everyone. Even daddy got one and the children. And I said to them, I'll come home and I'll bring my book home with me. And if you flip the books over, they make a puzzle. So I said, I will bring it back and we'll finish the puzzle. And then my eldest bought me my book, the mum book, and she'd written a note in it for me to take to hospital. So she said, Mummy, you bring it home. I said, of course I will. And as much as it broke my heart, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know. It hurt to make that promise to come home, but I had to do it for her. And I said, I'll be back for your birthday. Don't you worry. And yeah, that was the easiest way I could think for them to understand. And I got home. So, next step, mummy's back. I knew normal, mummy bouncing off of walls and door frames, but I'm here. I'm back up and down. Well, it's up and down anyway, but I'm doing the school run every day. More of a fair weather school run, mum, to be honest. But I have been within a week of being home. I was on the school run, trying to show the kids resilience, that even though it's a tricky situation, I'm still getting up, I'm still going out. trying to keep things as normal as possible for the kids and everyone else around me, but that everyone understands that if mummy needs a rest, she needs to go and rest. And yeah, it's our new normal. It's just how we get on with it. They stay positive, we stay positive, as much as they drive us nuts.
And it must give them such an appreciation, because you as a family are appreciating all the small things. And actually, so
Yes.
often in life, it's so busy, especially when the children are little, that it's so easy to go without noticing what's around
Yeah,
you and being grateful for the things that are around you. So the lessons that you're stopping to teach them
exactly.
now
Yeah,
are very valuable.
yeah, exactly that, exactly that. And just showing them the small things are the big things.
Mm.
You know, teaching them that from a young age, it doesn't hurt them to learn. And it's learned, we've taught each other a lot through this whole journey. And we're teaching other people. Other people are learning from us
Yeah.
that don't sit back, don't wait for anything, don't wait for things to come to you, just get out there and get it. And yeah, just I don't know, it sounds cliched, but be your own master, don't wait for other people. And yeah, some of the experiences that we've had have been brilliant. It's given us a, a different perspective on life for sure, and it's rubbing off on other people. And there's not much else more I can do for me. I'm doing everything I can do, and for those around us, they're learning.
They are,
So
and they're having the opportunity to learn from the best by
yeah, well,
seeing, as well as you're setting the examples and
yeah,
showing them the way forward, which
yeah,
is, it would be very easy to be insular, wouldn't it, after all the losses that happen quite early on in the journey, where,
yeah,
you know, from your work, you have to be mum in a different way. And
yeah,
you also have to
exactly that.
prioritize yourself, like you say, with your energy, which is something as a mum and as a full-time working mum that you're not used to
Yeah,
doing,
no,
because it's about everybody else. So it's
yeah,
creating a bit more of a balance.
yeah, and it's I'm not sitting, I'm not dwelling on it. You have bad days, you have a good cry, you get on with it, but I'm trying to look after myself. The past year, I think, when I went back onto chemotherapy, I just thought, right, this is another chance. So get myself in the best possible fitness that I could, should I need to go back into hospital. So through chemotherapy, I trained at the gym with a personal trainer and with my husband. And I am so glad that I did, because having had the surgery 4 weeks ago, I don't think I would have been up and back out as quickly as I was and as safely as I was had I not been stronger than I was when I was initially diagnosed. And it's, again, that was looking after myself. As hard as it was, I now see the benefits from others and for myself that the exercise did, and it got me up and moving. And again, no excuses at all, at all. So if anyone says to me, oh, I can't do that, I'm tired, or this, that, and the other, I was like, yeah, well, have a look, see what I'm doing. And I've documented it as I go along on social media. If it helps people, brilliant. You know, it's strength in numbers, and we're a tight knit community. There's a lot of us. Unfortunately, we do lose members of the community as we go along, and that hurts. But again, don't dwell on it. You know, I always think about friends that have passed and how much they would give to be here.
Yeah.
So I don't waste that time, and yeah, it is hard knowing it's incurable, but I'm still here and I'm going to make the most of it. And thank God for a blue badge is all I can say. That gives us a lot of opportunities as well, I have to say.
Well, it's important, isn't it? Because you think if you use all your energy getting somewhere, you can't enjoy where you go.
No,
Because,
no,
and also it would put you off potentially, wouldn't it, going somewhere if you knew that you were going to struggle with the journey itself. It's
yeah,
another barrier that you then have to overcome when if you're not feeling at your most motivated,
Yeah.
which would be very understandable through the treatments and just with
Yes.
every day what you have to deal with, it's
Yeah.
those small things that could just make that day
Yeah.
a better day.
It makes it much easier, and well, it gives you a free ticket to gigs. I mean, free chaperone is brilliant. We've seen some fantastic concerts. I'm always looking for the positives, and everyone else has said, well, why not use it? You've got it. So again, it's opportunities that we wouldn't necessarily have, and I would definitely have put them off pre-diagnosis. I wouldn't have been going out on a school night necessarily. But again, it's in a rubbish situation. It has given us some good opportunities, and we'll keep doing it for as long as we can. You know, nothing's going to stop me other than maybe surgery, but I'll be up and out as soon as I can. Yeah, it's just looking for the positives in it all, and it's what keeps me going. It keeps us all going. And if I have a down day, then I'll do something to cheer myself up and stay off the internet. No Googling. Never Google.
And it's amazing that in the first part that you were so able to persevere with not being fobbed off with your symptoms. You obviously had a brilliant GP, which I think is where a lot of people struggle. But you had a GP who clearly thought there's something not right, but it still took you going back. And I'm not sure that awareness wise, which is also why we're talking, is that I think people still could now find themselves going to report these symptoms and not being heard, despite it. COVID obviously made yours much harder because people weren't physically being seen, but it could still easily happen now.
Oh yeah, you have to push. I've heard so many people get told that because of their age, they're far too young for any of these symptoms, and it's just not true. I mean, 2 weeks after I myself was diagnosed, my sister-in-law, who is younger than me, was diagnosed with blood cancer. So she was also told, you know, nothing wrong. She pushed with the symptoms she had, she pushed and was seen and diagnosed. But you hear it so often for everybody I talk to, they're either misdiagnosed or they're too young for any of this. If you don't push for a lot of this, you won't get seen, you won't get taken seriously. So my advice to anyone would be, if you don't feel it's right, something's wrong, you don't feel right, push, 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 and don't take no for an answer. I had a fantastic GP. She was brilliant. She called whilst I was in the hospital. She kept an eye on how the process was going. I didn't get to see her again. Unfortunately, she left the practice, but I did get a message to her to thank her for, well, effectively saving my life. If I hadn't got to hospital when I did, this could have been a very different story altogether. So to her, I cannot thank her enough. And yeah, I thank her from the bottom of my heart, you know, for getting me through. But yeah, who ever thought you needed a referral letter to get into A&E?
And I think that this is a story that we've heard time and time again, that the biggest killer of under 40s, and yet the symptoms aren't being recognised, which is why it's so generous of you to give your time to talk about it. And for other people, it may just make that difference if they don't have that GP, by hearing what you experienced.
Yeah, I do have friends message me to ask of symptoms when I've had a few friends suffering with prolonged headaches and not getting the help they need. So I just say to them, push, keep pushing, keep asking, don't get fobbed off. A lot of people come to ask me, actually, what should they do? Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I say, go and see your GP if you can get an appointment, and just don't give up. Do not give up. Just be relentless. Be a pain in their backside, basically. I'm good at that. I've learned.
You had to, unfortunately, but thank God
You
you did.
You do. Yes, very much. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
It's very welcome and will make a real difference to people. So thank
I
you.
hope